Welcome to Vinyl Thoughts Podcast, brought to you by CrossfaderLA.com, blending culture and creativity.
Yo, welcome to another episode of Vinyl Thoughts Podcast. It's a happy, beautiful Sunday morning. We're here hanging out. We're getting ready to talk about the latest and greatest albums that dropped over the last couple of days. And what dropped most recently for us is Faith of a Mustard Seed that just recently dropped. Jonathan, Jeremiah, myself, we took a spin, a twirl of it, and we're going to share our comments on it and tell you how we feel about it. But before we get into all that good stuff, we're going to actually jump into.
So, breaking news: the Olympics are happening. Sure, not really my thing, truthfully. But you know whose thing it is? Snoop Lion previously, was shown to be carrying the torch for part of the way for the opening ceremony, which is just in itself newsworthy. Just Snoop Dogg is not the person I would expect to be doing that task, but Snoop Dogg also, I think, says yes to everything. Like this guy's been in movies. He's just doing a lot of just different things in his life. So I'm not that surprised that he's out there doing this. And it's made for some very funny memes and edits of various things that Torch has been turned into, if you know what I mean. So yeah, great time, great little piece of news in the Olympics. If that's your thing, have fun with that. But yeah, that's my news for this week.
Hey, did you know Pharrell was also part of that? It wasn't just Snoop; it was Snoop and Pharrell. Yeah, that brought the news to. I mean, brought the torch to the end. So it was both of them. And what I thought was funny, the other thing about Snoop carrying the torch or whatever, I thought he was wearing Trump sneakers. I don't know if you guys saw his sneakers; they were gold. So I was like, is he wearing the Trump? Whatever the Trump 2025 or whatever. But they were not Trump shoes. They were actually Skechers shoes. Snoop is endorsed by Skechers, and he's been traveling the world promoting Skechers. And so these Skechers that he wore on that last leg of the torch carrying task that he had, there were Skechers shoes. They were gold Skechers shoes, snakeskin, not the Trump shoes. But I thought that was interesting.
Oh my God, this wasn't my news story, but unrelated, but totally related since you brought that up. Sway Lee, I didn't know he was wearing Trump shoes. That makes it even funnier and crazier. He tweeted last night. He said, all caps, do your research before you vote for Kamala Harris. And I think myself and a couple others were kind of looking at Sway Lee like, since when were you a political scientist and you knew all about researching your vote and all this stuff like Sway Lee coming out of the woodworks, talking about political issues? I don't know, man. You were like when he came on the scene, I wasn't looking at him for his intellectual raps or bars. No Flex Zone didn't go on to inspire my philosophy on anything. So it was just a little bit weird to see him pop out of the woodwork talking about do some research, bro. Like Sway Lee probably needs to go read a book. So I'm gonna let him hold those Trump shoes. He's obviously done some research of his own if he wants to be rocking those.
Well, I think I saw a lot of memes regarding what he said, and they're like, "Yes, do your research because it can go both ways." And definitely, I would encourage everyone out there that's going to vote to do your homework, make your own educated decision on what you believe is best for you. I know we have our thoughts and ideas, but we encourage you guys to do the same and make your own educated guess or decision.
It was pretty funny coming from him. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was pretty funny coming from him of all people.
And don't forget Kodak Black. He loved him some Trump.
Yeah, we don't vote with Kodak Black here, I think, for a number of reasons.
I feel like Kodak Black being a Trump supporter is kind of just like, yeah, that sounds about right. That's about right for what I'd expect. That sounds about what I think Kodak Black is all about. I can see that.
Not to relitigate this whole thing, but I'm shocked that Drake didn't bring up Kendrick's breaking Kodak Black on his album recently. Like I feel like that would have been a great point to kind of attack Kendrick's credibility as this conscious rapper. being like, okay, how you talk all this shit, him of all people, spitting bars in your album about, you know, masculinity and all this stuff. And Drake didn't do any of that. Drake just kind of made shit up, apparently.
You brought up Drake. I'll go into my news article of the week that kind of plays into Drake. I find it funny that Drake was booed in his own state, country, city, whatever you want to call it, at a Limp Bizkit concert. So I guess he was in attendance, even though there's no real pictures of him at the concert. So I don't know if this was if this is authentic and that he was actually really there. But the front runner, the front performer of Limp Bizkit, Fred Durst, was like, "Hey, Drake's in the crowd" or whatever, and the crowd actually started booing. So I was like, damn, can Drake just have a worse summer right now? Because that was, like in his own city. I mean, I get it if he was like in LA, but if you're in the six or whatever and you're getting booed by the crowd that's there, I find it interesting. But
You're
on the
in
same
the six. Yeah.
at the same time, though, I don't know if Limp Bizkit fans are the same fans that listen to Drake. So
That's fair. That's a
I
good point.
kind of take it with a grain of salt. I don't know if it was to get like just put some publicity out of it or whatnot, but just the fact that they did boo is in itself a topic. And then additionally, go ahead.
Oh, I was reading about that, and I saw someone mention that they do this kind of bit at shows often, where they'll say like, "Oh, we have this celebrity back here. Cheer if you want them to come out." But I think normally they cheer, and this time they booed because it was Drake. So like, I don't think Drake was there. It was a bit, but it was a bit that looked bad for Drake. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
In the six, I don't know, in the six, because I mean Rick Ross got his ass beat in the six. Additionally, still on the Drake topic, Drake was actually dissed by Soldier Boy in the last like 48 hours. And the reason being, Soldier Boy felt that on some unreleased track that's floating around on the internet, Super Soak with Little Yachty. That's the unreleased track that's floating around on the internet or whatever. I guess there's some kind of subliminal diss at Soldier Boy. So Soldier Boy was like, "Look, I'm not gonna play that. If you want to talk shit, then let's just do it. I'm not gonna tolerate you, disrespecting me." So I just find it funny that Drake is just kind of catching it from all ends. He's catching it from Limp Bizkit. He's catching it from Soldier Boy. You know what I mean? So, hey. Drake just needs to kind of like go somewhere. Oh, and then he dropped a single. He was on some other Bubby Bangy single. I said he got the picture.
Was.
I'm like, dude, is like, when is he gonna respond to the all the shit he was talking on all these records? Family Matters, Push Up, Tailor Made, or whatever.
What's there to respond to? He's cooked. He's done.
Oh my gosh.
What's he gonna say? Like, that's not true.
Hey, the last thing he said on Tailor Made was, "I'm going on vacation." No, was it? What was it? Whatever the last one he did.
The Hard Part 6.
Hard Part 6. I'm
the
going on
worst
vacation
song of the entire beef.
So I'm going on vacation now.
That
so
was
you guys
the worst
can
song of
figure
the
it
entire
out.
beef.
And instead he's making songs with Camila Cabella, with whoever this other person is, and Delilah. So I don't know. But anyway, enough about Drake. Let's move on to the next news article of this episode.
Talking about another Canadian artist who got in some trouble. Tory Lanez dropped an album, an EP this week, and he dropped it out of prison. And the only thing that I felt was notable that I heard and I put on the album and listened to it a little bit. The audio quality, despite being in prison, was really clear. And he was tweeting about it. That was like the whole key to his rollout, was that the album quality of my prison album was going to be super clear. We don't know what it is yet. We don't know how he did it. I'm sure it will come out eventually, how he made his album sound so clear despite recording in a jail cell. But he did it. So shout out Tory Lanez. If you want to hear for yourself, go give it a listen. But feel free to turn it off after the first couple tracks.
I am curious, like you said, about how we got the quality to be so good. Because like that, maybe that method could be spread around to other people so we can get some more high quality. Because like I feel like historically it's been hard to get like good quality from recording out of prison for just like different songs and stuff.
But also at the same time, which artist in prison are you trying to get a clear sounding album from?
That's true. You know what? That's true. Yeah, I mean,
now that we're talking about, I'm like, I don't know which artist who went to prison. I'm over here.
Hey, Suge Knight, can we get Suge Knight to drop an album?
Didn't Suge Knight kill somebody like twice?
Yes, he did.
That's why he's in prison.
Well, yeah.
So, but wait, my question was going to be, I didn't know, hey, Tory Lanez is from Canada, number one.
Yes.
So, but he's serving time in L.A., right? Isn't he serving time in L.A.?
Yes,
County?
because he shot her in the foot in California.
Okay, got it.
Yes, that's the jurisdiction.
Yes, and it wasn't even like Megan versus Tory Lanez. It was like the state of California versus Tory Lanez.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Because he shot somebody, and that's like illegal.
Jeremiah, let's talk about your single of the week.
What you got for us? The streets are waiting to hear what's hot.
I don't think the streets are not going to care for this one, but I'm already here. It's a song called Foreign Boys by an artist named Skylar. Skylar is an artist from...
Skylar Grey?
Actually, I think it's a different Skylar. I think it's the full different Skylar, because I was trying to find like the artist profile, and I Skylar came up, but I think in fact, here, I'm gonna check in right now actually, because I'm curious. 1 second. Do you want to cut this out? Okay. I was sure before me saying this didn't make that all of a sudden, but
oh my gosh.
I was just like, wait, is that right? Skylar Grey is the singer for Eminem, whereas Skylar herself is more of a pop solo act who just does a lot of like upbeat, kind of fun, I would say party-ish music was interesting. No, different person.
Are you sure?
Yes, okay. I'm sure. In fact, if you look here on Spotify, you can see Skylar Grey and then Skylar.
Okay. All right.
And then under that, the Skylar Sisters from Hamilton, which is a Christmas musical that we're listening to here on the show. But Skylar herself has a song called Foreign Boys. It's very akin to, remember that Lil Wayne song? I think it's the Lil Wayne song where it's all about girls all over the world. Was that Lil Wayne? Anyway, it
was Lloyd featuring Lil Wayne.
Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of akin to that song, except with the flip gender perspective, and I think also pretty timely considering the Olympics and how many different people are different countries are around right now. Honestly, I really do enjoy Skylar's music in general. I think she has really both like fun songs, both those songs with really unique like tempos and beats. I think this song specifically is just kind of I think unlike her previous songs, this song for me sounds a little bit too much like every other pop song on the charts. But it still has like Skylar's unique delivery and vocal sound. So I still definitely think it's worth a listen. It's just not my like favorite of her tracks that she's put out.
All right, so this week we are going to be discussing the single from Cordae featuring Lil Wayne, Saturday Morning. I feel like Cordae is in an interesting spot. Is it Sunday? Wait, what?
Oh, no, today's Sunday.
With me. Oh my gosh.
Oh, he's so funny.
Anyways, Saturday Morning, Cordae featuring Lil Wayne. I feel like Cordae is in a very interesting spot in his career right now because his first album was, I think, critically acclaimed. A lot of people were saying that he was kind of carried by really good features on his first album. I don't know if I agree with that. I thought his first album was pretty solid. I think he did what he needed to do. Follow up, we got the second album. It was kind of whack. I ain't gonna lie. It didn't really hit the way the first album hit. And then, now he's in this limbo. We got the single Saturday Morning by Cordae featuring Lil Wayne. I like the beat a lot. I think Cordae he realizes that second album wasn't what it needed to be. And he's trying to get that, he's trying to get it where it needs to be. And Lil Wayne hopped on this song. And the reason I want to talk about this song is because apparently, Lil Wayne dissed Drake on this verse. I wouldn't. I don't know if I agree, but there are people who think that Lil Wayne was sending subliminal shots at his own, team member Drake. Um, Specifically, he said, "You a teddy bear, you a Teddy Graham," and Drake's name is Aubrey Graham. So people thought that might be a shot at Drake. There's another line where he talks about the prayer hands. Drake is always talking about prayer hands. Let me see if I can find it right here. What does he say? I'm gonna need real prayers and less praying hands, which is supposed to also be a shot at Drake. I don't think that he's dissing Drake, but if he is dissing Drake, that would be a really crazy revelation for Drake. I don't know. If Lil Wayne's dissing Drake, then I don't think Drake has anybody on the side anymore. So yeah, that's my single for this week. I hope Lil Wayne's not dissing Drake, but also I don't really care. So we'll see what happens.
You know what? I feel like everyone's getting on the Drake train because I just wanted to go back and talk about last week's episode because we listened to Yoshi Noah the first night and we knew that he was taking shots at Drake, but since the album's come out and everyone's like really done a deep analysis of Yoshi Noah, it's like the whole song was like a straight diss track at Drake or whatever, and so I'm just like, damn, can Drake's just getting it from all angles at this point?
Yeah,
Good.
I get the feeling you don't care for Drake.
I agree.
We'll give it away.
I don't know. Is it the Drake shirt?
Listen. No, be back on stage. Listen, Drake's been talking shit for like years now on various tracks.
But all rappers talk shit. That's what you gotta do as a rapper.
Drake,
you gotta talk your shit.
As we've now seen, Drake can't back shit up.
That's fair. I mean,
you know what? You're right about that.
Oh well, that's Drake.
That is Drake. And then as far as my single of the week, it's a song produced by DJ Premier and it's called "You Don't Stop." I've been a huge DJ Premier fan for years, especially since he contributed to best rap album of all time, Nas Illmatic. But ever since he contributed to that album, I mean, he's just been such a dope producer or whatever. So to see him come out and drop something new, it's called "You Don't Stop" and it features Big Sean, Rick Ross, and Lil Wayne. It's kind of an eclectic mix. I didn't, never thought I'd hear all three of those guys on one track produced by DJ Premier. The track is cool. I think it's just a little bit nostalgic just to hear Premier behind the boards making nothing but that true boom bap. And additionally, he's kind of venturing off into some different things. I think as Premier has matured and grown older and been in the music game for such a long time, he's trying different things. I know he's produced for Spanish artists. There's some Spanish songs out there with some dope DJ Premier beats, and he has another song floating on the internet right now called "The Friendship Song," which is more like a country song. It features Brady Watts on bass and some other guys, and it's just more of that on that countryside, but still with him behind the board. So Premier is out doing his thing. So I want to give him a shout out as he's out here doing his thing and, like I said, producing different things and bringing a different genres to the forefront. So highlight to DJ Premier.
Woo, DJ Premier. Woo, go DJ Premier.
There you go. The album is produced by Mustard, now Mustard, not DJ Mustard, but Mustard, and it's 13 songs. It starts off with a very inspirational, motivational song, and then as well ends with I think his second single of the album, "Pray," which like when I listen to that song, I mean it speaks to me. I understand it. It reminds me a lot of Kanye West's. Was it Late Registration, where at the end he talks about how he came about? It's like Kanye West's version is way longer.
It's College Dropout. His Last Call.
Last Call. Yeah. There you go. Thank you for correcting me. Last Call. It reminds me of that, where he kind of goes through all these different stages of his career and how he came about. So I felt it in it.
talking about the album out of order. That last track, I think the last track is "Pray," where he's talking.
Yes. Yeah.
Dude, tell me I'm not crazy. Wasn't there like a double vocal type thing going on in that track, or like were my headphones bugging? Like it was like he was speaking and then it repeated itself, and it was like almost like he was talking twice.
Yeah, yeah. I almost felt like he was. I'm not gonna say talking to himself, but I do feel like there was devil. Like, yeah, I agree with you. There was something going on there where
Because
maybe he did it purposely,
in
as like a sonic ride or something.
in Last Call, I feel like it's very intentional and layered, and it works. And it's like, and it's not even like him repeating himself. It's almost like other people's interjections and thoughts at that point in the story.
Yes.
But with DJ Mustard, it just, I'm sorry, but like it annoyed the hell out of me. Like he would just be saying like, "Yeah, man, I walked down the street," and then his voice would come back. "Yeah, man, I was walking down the street," and it was like, dude, like that's so unnecessary. I would have enjoyed it a lot if he wasn't doing that, or if maybe he did it more sparingly and it was layered a little bit better, so it sounded more in the background. I don't know, but that kind of killed it for me. I would have enjoyed it otherwise.
I mean, I kind of think it was like ad libs when a rapper is, spitting
It
or
was.
whatever. So that's the way I
Bad
interpreted
ad-libs.
that. So it was more like an ad lib, if anything.
The ad-libs didn't work for me. I guess I'll put it like that. The ad-libs did not work for me.
And I was like I always do before we come on here. I kind of get a perspective of the internet before we go start talking about an album. And my reference to the Pray versus Last Call was one Kanye reference, but other people on the internet felt that the beginning of the album sounded like another Kanye West song or title. I don't know if it was Twisted Fantasy or whatever the intro to
Yeah.
that with pianos, but there's a lot of different Kanye West references to this album, as well as DJ Khaled, just because he has all the different
Oh yeah.
features on this album or whatever. So it's Mustard's been around for quite a while. This is his fourth studio album. He just produced the hottest song of the summer, if not the year, for Kendrick Lamar. So he is on a high right now. I don't know if the album reaches that peak of what he did for Kendrick Lamar. You know what I mean? And what I found it interesting about this album was he had artists like Lil Yachty on his album, who is like Drake's
Dude.
not right hand man, but very
Yeah.
close
That's
to the
Drake's
camp.
boy. It's supposed to
Exactly.
be Drake's boy. Yeah.
So and then of course Mustard can work with whoever he wants and whatnot, but I just find it very compelling to have Lil Yachty on his album after Not Like Us just dropped 2 months ago or whatever. So
I would agree.
obviously that tells me that the album was produced. It wasn't produced recently. I don't think that Lil Yachty track was produced after the
You don't think
battle.
that Lil Yachty just didn't care? Or, you just don't think that they just didn't care? That's how I took it. I just interpreted like it ain't that big of a deal,
I kind of feel
But you
that
could
it
be right.
may have been recorded prior to the battle. I mean, I think if my memory serves me correctly, this album it took a while to complete, and he's been
Okay.
recording for quite some time. So I don't think
Okay.
like all these albums were recorded like all these songs were recorded in the last 2 months. I think they've been recorded probably over the last 2 years, and
Okay.
put them all together and put them out.
Okay. All right. Cool.
What was a highlight for you guys besides what was the highlight for you guys?
I know exactly which song. I don't want to get the name wrong, so I'm just gonna. It's the one with Travis Scott. I feel like it's called
Parking Lot.
Parking Lot. The one with Travis Scott.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that song was pretty. I think that was my standout. I'm always perplexed by how good Travis Scott's ability to show up on a track and make it a good song is, because I feel like I never expect much from Travis Scott, and then every time it's like, yeah, he really showed it. He really did his thing there. Like he really, his auto-tune harmonizing, like it just really works a lot of the time. So that was definitely for me the strongest song of the album. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that stood out to me like that. Go ahead.
Originally, when I listened to it, I listened to it without like looking at the features, and I thought it
Yeah.
was I thought it was Ty Dolla Sign's um
Ah,
versus Travis Scott, but then Ty Dolla Sign's is on the album
he
on a
is.
different track or whatever. But they kind of sound very similar. You know what I mean? Like I mean, I guess once I realized, yes, I could tell that it wasn't. You know, I'm like, oh, that's. But
Are you also getting Father breaking up?
Yeah, yeah, I got that too. Yeah, yeah. It's actually a really funny pic smoke.
It's
It's
so
actually
funny.
it's a really funny like freeze frame there.
That reaction image is kind of great.
Are you back? Hello? You back? Father, you there?
I think I'm here. I see myself. I hear myself.
Yeah, you had a little bit of
You had a
an
moment
internet
there.
drop.
Am I here now? Are you guys
I think so. Yeah, you're yeah, I think you're good. I think it should be good.
mic check, mic check?
Telling y'all we should invest in Ethernet. I'm just saying. Um,
Jeremiah, what's your
Um,
thoughts? You're kind of quiet over there.
You are.
oh yeah, the album was
You thought it was perfect, right? You thought it was like a 10 out of 10?
here's the thing. I love being inflammatory. I love being a hater. Or I love being a contrarian.
I don't think this album gives you much to work with. And see, like my thing about this album is that I don't want to be a hater about this album. I really don't. I don't think there's that much wrong with it. I don't think there's anything explicitly wrong with this album. I think this album is, like this album in the sense that this album is decent. I feel like it will hold the test of time. 10 years from now, this will still be a decent album. But I have a lot of things about the album that I found underwhelming. I think the features are underwhelming. Travis Scott stood out. Young Thug stood out. Little Yachty almost stands out to me, but I don't think he really carries it all the way through. All the other features
Even
don't
the
really
Vince
work
Staples
for
one.
me. Even that, yeah, the Vince Staples one. I know a lot of people like it. It
Okay.
didn't stand out to me.
Gotcha.
But also, I feel like this album, to me, this album feels very grandiose. But it felt like someone wanted to make this big grand album, but then failed on the execution. So we have this album that wants to be big and grand, but it isn't executed well enough to be the big and grand album that they wanted it to be. And that's my feeling about this album.
You know how like when you see a firework, you expect there to be a flash and a boom. This is like
Yes.
if you saw a flash, but there was no boom.
I agree. That's exactly how I feel about this album.
Wow, that's a great analogy.
Thank you.
That is what this album feels like, 1,000%.
Damn.
Because like it's nice to look at. It's not bad at all. But like, where's the substance? Where's the feeling of like the vibration in your teeth a little bit? Like it's just
not here.
It's not. Yeah, it's not here.
It's not here.
It does. I mean, I definitely recognize like if it's also there's like some gospel influences because of like breaking things like that, which I think is interesting. But like it's been done before, and I don't think it was done here in a way that like breaks mold or anything like that.
Not to be. I'm go ahead, Jermaine. I don't want to cut you off.
No, I don't think it's bad. It's not done poorly at all. I think it's done pretty well. The songs that it's in, but like it kind of feels like a proto version of Good Kid, Mad City sometimes to me.
A proto version of Good Kid, Mad City.
Like I feel like there's this through line of like him talking about it's like he's a youth and kind of tying that into like religion and like things like that. Which like I think in some songs it reminded me of like some of the tracks from Good Kid, Mad City, but like thematically it does not have the same like weight that Good Kid, Mad City has in its narrative as in fact this album's narrative to me was harder to parse out and like did not have the same like punch I think that would have made it really strong.
Sometimes I feel like it's a bad Kanye West album.
Yeah, see, you're another you just I mean, like a lot of people are referencing Kanye West on this album. I don't know. I don't know. I feel more like Khaled, but just because of all the features.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
fair.
think Khaled had more bangers than this album, and I think the problem with this album is I think we're all expecting, like you said, this great album, basically because of the song he did with Kendrick, the "Not Like Us." Like that song is just such a just staple for this summer this year, and I
A
think
Vince
at least
staple.
um, for me at least, I feel that we wanted this album to kind of rise to the occasion of being equal to that, or maybe even better. And I think we had high expectations of that, and because of all the features, and then not hitting that level of of just being outstanding or whatever. Like the standout track for me, I'm not gonna say standout, surprise track that I find myself like, hey, this isn't such a bad song, was with Kodak Black. I've never been a Kodak Black fan,
Okay.
but on this particular song, I felt like, hey, this is much better than some of the previous stuff I've heard from him before. So I'll give him kudos for that, for definitely bringing someone to the table that I probably wouldn't have listened to. And I'm not saying it's like, oh, banging track like what he did with Not Like Us, but it's definitely probably one of the better tracks of the album for me personally.
But I also feel like maybe it's just. I mean, I know, Father, you did your research, but I feel like while we respect the album and we think it's totally decent, I feel like most people enjoy it at least a little. I think some people enjoy it a little bit more than we enjoy it. Like I think there are some people who some of these songs really work for, and like
Yeah.
these songs will be in rotation for them for a little bit longer. But for me, the Travis Scott song and the Young Thug song are the only songs that kind of work. And otherwise, it just doesn't. It doesn't. It otherwise, I just find it lackluster.
No, I agree with you. I think we all feel the same way. Like we don't think it's a bad album. We just feel that
Yeah,
it's a very good mediocre album.
and I
Yeah.
think that to your point, Father, about Not Like Us. Part of me, and I know I feel like this is like the most hater thing ever, but since nothing on this album is better than Not Like Us, I can't help but listen to it all and then kind of go, well, what was the point? I'm gonna just go put, like the only DJ Mustard track this year I'm gonna put on is Not Like Us, and it's not on this album. So like, what's really the point of listening to this? Not, I mean, obviously, when you're the artist, it's different. Like obviously that's just me saying that as a listener, and it's very like it's just like it's just me talking shit while he's putting in the work to make an album. Like he's putting all the work to make the album, so it's not really fair for me to be over here like, well, what's the point if all this stuff is not as good as Not Like Us? But me being a critic, that's how I feel. And like, I came to this album thinking to myself like, if nothing on this album is as good as Not Like Us, then what was the point of all this? And that's where I'm left.
I mean,
with
to
that.
be fair, Not Like Us is a high bar to hit, especially when Not Like Us
It is.
the collaboration with like Kendrick Lamar of all people.
But he couldn't have asked Kendrick to do like a Not Like Us remix and do it and put it on the album, like get some people to start dissing Drake. We could have put it on the DJ Mustard album. That wasn't a possibility.
I think no. I think imagine you work on this album for like a year or something, and you put and Mustard's Minor, you put all this like work into the narrative, into the songs, etc. And then you put on this Kendrick Lamar remix, and suddenly the whole album's just about that. Just like that is the only song I could name you from that whole album.
Yeah, okay. That's a good point.
Like, as opposed to that album, which I don't remember the name of that album. I don't think this album is like so bad where like where the other songs aren't worth like listening and like remembering, right?
Right.
I think it would have been a shame to like lose out all the other songs in favor of another Kendrick song that just takes everyone else's attention. Whereas I did not care for the album that was on, so it's kind of like, yeah.
I mean, I think honestly, I do think on Mustard's behalf, this was a smart move. I mean, he's definitely riding a high, right? I mean, it's been a while since Mustard released anything, and then the hottest song of the summer was produced by him. I mean, I think it was
Yeah.
smart of him to catch that wave and put this album out just a few months after that. And I don't think it, according to him, or I think what's floating around on the internet, I don't think it was planned that way. I think this album was
No.
scheduled to be released before the whole beef thing, so it just kind of
Yeah.
coincides with the release of the album. So, but I think it's smart on his man. I mean, maybe it's good timing. Maybe it was the faith of a mustard seed that this album came out at this time.
That's fair, and I think it was. I think it definitely it just happened this way. So I mean, and at the end of the day, for all the critiques I have, I definitely want to give DJ Mustard his credit and his flowers for putting together this album. And it's not easy putting together a collaboration album amongst different artists. It's not easy to produce a whole album yourself. So for all the things I don't like about this album, I definitely want to make sure he gets his respect and people give it a listen, because I think most people will find at least a couple songs on this album that they're going to enjoy.
I agree. The Contrarian, you got something?
I've kind of not. Yeah, it's just not my. It's not the hill I'm going to die on. It's not an album that's given me a cause to fight for. I think I agree with what you are saying. I think if you like the album, normally I'd be like, oh, if you like this album, you're wrong. If you like this album, then that's fine. If you dislike it, I think you're also fine. I think it's an album that is not middle of the road perfectly, because I think it is a pretty. It's a good, but I don't.
Yeah, it's better than middle of the road.
Yeah, yes. for sure. I agree. I don't want to say it's bad or anything. It's just it is good. It is just good in a kind of boring way to me.
It's good in a boring way. Yeah. That's a fair statement.
It's like decaf coffee. All right. So on this, go ahead. Any other notes before we rank?
My last thing was I really do appreciate this album for not being vapid and empty. For much of that this album boring. This album does have songs that have meaning, some substance.
Yeah,
this isn't just an album that is stupid. It isn't just an album that is talking about nothing. It's there are good things being discussed here, which I think is also really important, since we don't get a lot of that.
There are so many albums we listened to in season 1 of this show that were so vapid. Like those ones.
Yeah.
Listened to that I just thought were saying nothing over and over again.
Right.
And I do appreciate this album having some things to say. Having some narrative a little bit in there, having some points to make. I do think that is worth mentioning for sure.
It's a collaboration album and it has things to say, and I think it in that sense it really works.
Yeah.
Amen. So, what would you guys give it on a scale of 1 to 5? What would you guys rank this album?
Definitely.
Go for it. Go ahead. I said 3 before I started talking about it. I know this is a new number. I'm gonna give it a 3.25. I feel bad just giving it the 3, but a 3.5 sounds too high.
Didn't we give Slim Shady 3.5?
Yeah, I like Slim Shady. I think Slim Shady.
Yeah,
I enjoyed more than this.
Yeah, I would give this one the 3.25 as well.
You're right. The 3 sounds too low, but 3.5 is really too high for what it is.
Yeah,
but I think a different person could easily give it a 3.5. It's just not me.
True.
I
think, for instance, I think for me it would be like a B-, but not a C at all.
Yes.
3 out of 5 is a D. So
yeah, okay, but we're not doing math here with that. We're not converting 3 of that. Used to happen in school, pissed me off. But no, it's not a fucking D. It's a 3 out of 5. It's anyway.
Oh my gosh.
All right, yeah. So I agree with you guys. I do feel that it does have substance. I do feel that there's more songs that I could enjoy on this album versus some other things that we've listened to in the past. It does have substance. It does talk about some positivity. So yeah, I agree with you on the 3.25. I think that makes sense. It's not below a 3. It's higher than a 3. I don't think it's as high as 3.5, but 3.25 definitely hits the mark at that number.
I think we all agree with the exact same rating. My weird 3.25 is the number we can all get behind.
We
I
can
think
all
your
get behind.
3.25 kind of hit the nail on the head. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least
It
for
was
us.
like,
At least for our purposes.
agreed. We all agree.
All right. Cool. All righty.
All right.
Well,
So,
I guess that was
yeah.
Faith of a Mustard Seed.
Yeah. Next week, Hatsune Miku.
Final Thoughts Podcast.